No, I can't tell you why. I cannot. How could I explain this? It's impossible. That's the way it is. You know, you're not going to explain a poem by Baudelaire, or, you know. But I never ask the question, why is Luis Buñuel Luis Buñuel? Buñuel used to say that when you explain, you reduce. You understand what I mean? My name is Jean-Claude Carrière. I'm talking from Paris for Filmstruck about Luis Buñuel. We worked together for 20 years. We wrote 6 films together, and we lived together. So I have some memories that I'd like to share with you. He was extremely present. When he was somewhere in a room, it was impossible to look at anybody else. He was like an old boxer, you know. He had a very strong face, almost like a peasant. He had very good health. He lived until 83 years old. And he liked very much life. He liked to drink. He liked to eat. He was a very good man, very generous, you know, full of charity, full of sympathy for other people. He wasn't evil at all, you know. I saw him, you know, emptying his pockets for a beggar in the streets of Mexico. But he had a special vision of the world, you know. He was used to see and to show people, things, facts that other people didn't. But that was very peculiar to him. And also, he had another world. He lived in another world made of dreams, made of imagination, which is, of course, part of his films, of his cinema.
¡La hostia reptante! ¡En el vientre de la hija de zorra!
Yo te conjuro en el nombre de Cristo, para que dejes al justo orar en paz.
Buñuel was a sort of walking on a thread, you know. It was like this, always, trying not to fall on one side, on the ordinary, on the banal, you know, of course not. But not to fall either on the other side, on the extraordinary, on the special effect, on the fantastic, you know, on the superpower. So the balance was very difficult to maintain. There's always a tendency to go to reality or to unreality, you know.
Et pour montrer votre valeur, vous avez invité à dîner avec vous le spectre du commandeur.
His path was very narrow, you know, that's what I would say. It was like a thread. Belle de Jour is based on a novel by Joseph Kessel. A woman from the bourgeoisie goes to a brothel every afternoon. But it was not enough to us. And Buñuel wanted to add something, which is the daydreams of that woman, erotic daydreams.
Prêt? Partez! Préparez-vous! Feu!
But how could we, 2 men, one of them Spanish, invent erotic women's daydreams? So we asked women. We asked many women. All the scenes in Belle de Jour, where you see Catherine Deneuve dreaming about this, have been told to us by women. One of the secrets of the film, that the part of the reality, the story itself, is quite banal. It's almost artificial, almost like a cheap novel sometimes. But the imagination, the imaginary part is real. For instance, at that moment, all of a sudden she stops and she's hearing the voice of a priest, you know, and we see that she's refusing to take the communion.
Séverine.
Which is a real story told to us by a woman. What looks unreal is real, and what looks real is unreal. One of the aims of Buñuel was, of course, to make personal films, you know, but also to keep the audience in the theater until the end of the film. Buñuel had read a Spanish book about the history of heresies. And he wanted to make a film about the notion of heresy, because heresy has something to do with surrealism, somewhere. The Milky Way, to me, it was the strangest films we ever made. Most of the scenes that show Jesus in a very conventional way.
Nous sommes en retard. Quelle heure est-il?
We wanted to add something either ironical or more serious.
C'est sûrement à cause de ta barbe. Ça inspire confiance, une barbe, ça fait bien.
C'est possible. Ça me rappelle ce que racontait ma mère quand j'étais môme.
Mon fils, ne trace pas. Tu es beaucoup mieux avec ta barbe.
Faudrait bien que tu te casses la gueule, les salauds.
We had to choose, some special cases. Every character, for instance, Pierre Clémenti, when he's by the car, is probably not the devil itself, but one of the demons sent by the devil.
Qui êtes-vous?
Un ouvrier. Un ouvrier qui ne chôme pas. Et nous sommes des millions et des millions là-bas.
Où?
Just to tell you a secret, in that scene, inside the car, there's a radio. Put the radio, the voice that we hear is the voice of Buñuel himself, and he's telling a piece of a great mystical poet, Fra Luis de León, Spanish from the 15th century, that describing hell.
Lágrimas allí no valen, arrepentimientos allí no aprovechan.
Là-bas, les larmes ne servent à rien. Là-bas, le repentir n'est d'aucun secours.
Oraciones allí no se oyen, promesas para adelante allí no se admiten.
Là-bas, on n'écoute pas les prières. Là-bas, on rejette les bonnes résolutions.
I have a special attraction for the Phantom of Freedom, for 2 or 3 scenes in that film, and also had Buñuel, because we thought that in 2 or 3 moments, short moments, for instance, the scene when the little girl is lost and found. She's lost, but she's there in the same time, when the police officer says, we are looking for her. Is there? Is her? Yes. Oh, you were right to bring her, because it will be easier to find her.
Tenez, dites au commandant de fouiller tout Paris, il faut retrouver cette petite fille.
Très bien, monsieur le commissaire. C'est elle?
Oui, pourquoi?
Nous ne pourrions pas l'amener avec nous?
Non, ce n'est pas la peine. Regardez-la bien afin de pouvoir la reconnaître et commencer immédiatement.
Très bien, monsieur le commissaire.
This absurdity, at that moment, to me, is one of the best moments that we liked in the whole work we did together. There are so many children who are there and not there. It's strange how sometimes doing something completely nonsensical, you touch something real. Buñuel didn't like to write. He didn't know how to draw. What would have he done without cinema? He was born with the cinema and born a filmmaker. And another question is, how many very great filmmakers have been alive before the cinema was invented? Buñuel is still with me every day. When I have a decision to make, personal, family decision, I'm asking him. He was such a good, generous man that I always wonder, what would have he done in my place? I'm not talking about technique of cinema. I'm talking about life. The real master is the master who is with you in life. Bye-bye.